ScouterStan. I want to talk a little bit about being an Eagle Scout. It is a huge responsibility, and it is extremely important that we discuss this. Eagle Scouts are special in many, many ways. They have done something that is not typically done in today's society. So the achievement that they've actually accomplished this is literally statistically amazing. Since 1912, there has been 2.7 million Eagle Scouts. That's a bunch. Now, I'm gonna refer to some of these notes because this is amazing statistics. About 8% of all Scouts today, on average, become Eagle Scouts. 8%. Very tiny amount. Now, when you consider that a normal troop has about 14 Scouts in it, that's the average. There are some mega troops that have far more than that. There are some smaller troops that I came from that were even smaller than that. So the average is 14. If you have 14 Scouts in a given Scout troop, only one of them becomes an Eagle Scout. That's amazing. That's at 8%. Now, think about this. There are 74.2 million youth in the United States. They're all under 18. That's a huge population, and only 1% of them have registered into scouting and are actually eligible to become an Eagle Scout. So it is an amazing, statistically, when you look at all of the Eagle Scouts that have been, it is absolutely amazing. Now, in today's society, we have something that's kind of controversial. We teach moral. We actually teach leadership based on that. That can be controversial. You know this. A lot of people have bad feelings towards the Scouts, and that's okay. They don't know any better, okay? They don't know like we know that this is a great organization and it will change the world. Unfortunately, they don't know that. So they go by the media, they go by other people's opinions that are based not on the reality of scouting. An Eagle Scout has actually taken upon themselves to live their entire life by the Scout Oath and the Scout Law. Every single word. That is part of being an Eagle Scout. When you take it to heart, in the oath, when you say God and country, you'll find that there are lots of Eagle Scouts running around, doing their job, changing the world in public service, politicians, and even the clergy. Many of today's police officers, firemen, and even EMTs take the line where we say to help others at all times to heart. In business, you will find many Eagle Scouts being your supervisor, your manager, directors of a company, even the CEO of that company could be an Eagle Scout. It is part of being an Eagle Scout is leading, and that's a huge responsibility. An Eagle Scout never says the words, "I was an Eagle Scout." There's no such thing. When you become an Eagle Scout, guess what? That's forever. Okay? There is no was. You are an Eagle Scout, and you are living your life by the Scout Oath and Scout Law. That is tantamount. When you go out there with that in your heart, it becomes a part of your soul. It becomes a part of who you are. That's huge. That is huge, especially for leaders of tomorrow. There are millions more Life Scouts than there are Eagle Scouts. In fact, that's true for all the ranks. And for everybody in scouting, we are all obligated by the Scout Oath and Scout Law to live our lives, to give leadership freely, to move along in our lives with the Scout Oath and Scout Law as the primary principle. All three of the astronauts in Apollo 13, the unsuccessful trip to the moon where they had the issues, all three of those astronauts were Eagle Scouts. All three of them. In fact, there was a lot of Eagle Scouts that were part of the program. And this has a lot to do with Kennedy, President Kennedy, mandating that test pilots be considered for Mercury and Gemini and eventually Apollo going to the moon. That was a big thing. Now, test pilots, even today, are required to be an Eagle Scout. Something to think about. Now, by the time Apollo came along, there was room for people who were not test pilots. The only person who was not an Eagle Scout that walked on the moon was Michael Collins. He was the only one. So that's something to think about. Now, you consider that we have to mention him over the other 11 that walked on the moon. That's something. That is something. I mean, it really stands out. Eagle Scouts are always held to a higher standard than anybody else. If you're an Eagle Scout, you know what I mean. I've worked in places where if they know I'm an Eagle Scout, I end up sharpening all of their pocket knives, okay? That's just the way it works. I've been in places where I'd tie a knot and somebody would go, wow, where'd you learn that? I says, well, I'm an Eagle Scout. Oh, and they hold you to a higher standard. That is true regardless. And the reason for that is because you're literally living your life by the Scout Oath and the Scout. So hang in there. I know you do a great job. And I know there's a lot more to being an Eagle Scout. You'll find that out as you go along. And it's a wonderful thing. I think all youth should strive for that, even though it's so rare. Strive for that, and I know you can do it. Mentor scouts towards this goal. It's a worthy goal. Even if you're not an Eagle Scout, you can mentor other people to become Eagle Scouts. Totally fine. You can do this. It's not difficult. There's videos online that will help you. In fact, I will put one up here in the corner. I'll put one up there that's a whole series, okay, that'll get you through this process. And I know you can do this. This is a very simple thing that you can pay it forward, okay? So that's a wonderful thing to do as an adult leader. So until next time, I will see you on the trail.